So thank you so much for being game and agreeing to come on and do this. Of course, we both get something out of it. You get hypnotherapy, the ability to drive on the freeway, and then we get these videos as teaching tools for hypnotherapists. I don't know if you're aware, but driving anxiety is the most common anxiety right now. So there's not a week that goes by when I'm not working with somebody with driving anxiety. Particularly here in a car-dependent city like Los Angeles, you have to be able to drive to get anywhere, and it gets more and more difficult when it's raining and when it's at night. And I don't know if you've noticed, but people are driving pretty lousy right now. They're driving faster than ever. It can be scary. So there's a lot of driving anxiety. So what we're going to do today, Marty, is we're going to give a little more information. We're going to talk about particular triggers, which are situations that make you anxious. And then we're going to talk about hypnosis, what it is, what it isn't, and then we'll do about 20 minutes of hypnosis. Okay, I'll record the hypnosis part of the session for you, and then I'll send you a recording. And your job is to listen to the recording on your own daily, if you can. If not, as often as you can during the week. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So let's go over some of the things that we discussed in our conversation, which is that you have a tendency to avoid freeways. In fact, you had to get on the freeway, you said, recently, right? But you just don't get on it if you don't have to.
Correct.
Okay. All right. And it sounds like there's a certain part of you that doesn't think it's possible to get back to driving on the freeway. Is that right, Trilogy? What you feeling?
I feel that as I get older, if I don't need to get on the freeway, like I want to do as less driving as possible. I mean, I could get on the freeway, that would be amazing,
Yes.
I just don't want it to, like, what's the word, like...
limit you or stifle you? Or
Yes. I want to be able to, if I have to go somewhere and I know the freeway's going to get me there a little quicker, I'll do it. You know what I mean?
Choice. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so the goal here is that you want to be able to go where you want to, when you want to, even though that might not be very often, you still want to have the choice. Like, well, I can get on the freeway, no big deal.
Yeah, I don't want to overthink it, A lot of times if I know I'm going somewhere and freeway has to be taken, I can think about it days prior to the actual day I have to get on the freeway.
Yeah, we call
I
that...
want it not to be in the thought.
Okay, all right. There's a name for that kind of looking like 2 days down the road, like, oh man, I think I'm going to have to drive on the freeway. We call that anticipatory anxiety, right?
Okay, what happened?
So you're not even in your car driving, you just think about driving, and that creates anxiety for you.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, we're going to address that as well. Okay, so let me just get a little more information, if I may. All right. So sounds like this has been going on for maybe 10 years, right? We've been having some of these negative things about driving.
It's gotten progressively worse.
Yeah, it always does.
It
doesn't get better by itself. It always gets worse because it's self-reinforcing. The more you think about it, the scarier it gets. So let me ask you this.
Okay.
What happened? Something happened 10 years ago? Can you identify some reason that this driving anxiety started? Because before that, you were driving fine, right?
Yeah. I don't know if it started when it first kind of started where I would get a little anxious driving at night.
Okay.
And then over the course of time, it's been just the speed of cars, the overcrowding of cars, and then people being on their phones. I see, people not really paying attention. I mean, I've noticed that driving is a lot different than it was when I was, growing up and I first started driving. And the acceleration of the cars when they come very close, and I feel like people rely on their brakes. It's just tough. It's hard. And there's a lot more trucks. That gives me anxiety.
Yes. A lot more trucks on the right-hand side of the road. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. However, I think we can agree that if we're paying attention and really focused on driving, for the most part, most everybody gets where they want to go.
Mm-hmm.
Right, the vast majority of the time. Okay. So I think we can assume that if you felt less anxious, you'd be willing to deal with all those things in a much more calm, in a much more relaxed way. You didn't feel that anticipatory anxiety or the anxiety when you're actually on the freeway, right?
Correct. And also, just to point out, I don't even have to be driving. I could be in the passenger seat on the freeway and still get extremely anxious.
That's right. In the passenger seat, pumping the imaginary brake pedal.
Exactly. I often have to look down. I slither, I slouch a little bit.
Okay. Got it. All right. So let me ask you again, was there anything going on 10 years ago that was upsetting or stressful or a life transition that might have kind of started some of this driving anxiety? Was there an accident or something that you knew got in an accident? Just trying to figure out some reason why 10 years ago this started to happen.
I can't really think of anything. I mean, and I'm just kind of pulling 10 years because I think that's when I started really paying attention to it. I had some jobs down in Orange County, and it just, I just remember it, just the anxiety getting more and more. I did get married about like 11 or 12 years ago, and this might sound very strange, but I think the fear of loving somebody so much and then getting hurt. You know what I'm saying? Where you kind of I don't even know if that's really, if that really makes sense.
Well, it goes hand in hand with kind of a long-standing history of anxiety of something bad happening.
Yeah.
What if something bad happens, right?
Right.
And you told me that something bad happened when you were 9 years old, right? You
Yes.
lost your mom,
Yes.
okay? And it's just like out of the blue, nothing you were expecting. She wasn't sick. It's just one day there was an accident, right? And so, yeah. And this, especially for a child in the formative years of 8 or 9 years old, right? That really does, it could send a message to our childlike minds like, nothing's ever safe. You never know what's going to happen. Anybody I love could be taken from me at any time. It really gives you a sense of uncertainty, right?
Absolutely.
Which translates to other parts of life as well, especially getting on the freeway, right? Okay. All right. Well, and thank you for sharing that with me. So let's get some basic information about, I guess you would call it self-care, because how we take care of ourselves has a pretty big impact on how we feel. So let's start with sleep. You sleep well at night?
Not really.
And
I'm a very light sleeper, and I wake up often throughout the night. I feel like I don't need to get a lot of sleep. I'm not one of those people that can't really function. I think I'm just so used to it. I can't remember a time when I actually slept 8 hours, to be honest with you.
got it. How many times do you wake up at night?
Oh my God, maybe 4 or 5 times a night.
And how quickly are you able to go back to sleep?
I think it varies. Lately I've been listening to these I don't know how to pronounce it, solfeggio frequencies, and I put that by my ear, and that helps me get back to sleep.
Okay.
And I feel like I get into a deeper sleep when I listen to that.
Solfeggio.
So how do you say it?
Solfeggio, S-O-L.
Yes.
Okay. That's what yeah. Okay. And that's helpful. All right then. So, you dream? You remember dreams?
I feel like just in the past few months, I've noticed that I've been dreaming a lot, and I'll remember bits and pieces, but not, and I should write it down, but I don't. I never do.
Well, if you do have a dream that you think is important and that you want to share with me, you can write it down or you can email me. Okay. Just like, oh my God, I got to tell Ted about this, and that would be fine.
Okay.
Or write it down and talk about it in session. And we're going to talk about dreams and how we use dreams to help you kind of let go of some of this anxiety. But we'll talk about that maybe in the next couple of sessions, okay? So, but I do want to ask you about the nature of your dreams. Are they scary, or are they just kind of nonsensical? What's the nature of your dreams?
Some seem, what did you say, nonsensical?
Yeah, just
And
kind of.
kind of random. And then some are dreams about somebody leaving me.
Okay. Well,
Breakup, that kind of thing. Not trustworthy, that kind of thing.
got it. All right. Are you getting along all right?
Oh, absolutely.
Wonderful.
Amazing.
All right. Good. Like, all right. Okay. So, what about diet? Do you eat 3 meals a day? Do you have a tendency to go a long period of time without skipping meals? Or long periods of time skipping meals?
I actually just kind of started paying attention to doing that intermittent fasting. And my diet's pretty healthy.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you feel you eat good, healthy, nutritious food.
I do.
All right. What time do you eat breakfast in the morning?
I just had breakfast like right before we got on, about 11:30.
Okay, is that typical that your first meal is about 11:30?
Yeah. Sometimes if I'm working really early and I get up super early, I'll eat an hour or two earlier.
Okay.
But
And what time is your midday meal for lunch?
probably about like maybe 4.
Okay. And then what time do you eat dinner at night?
Sometimes like 7 or a little later.
Okay.
I mean, it just depends on what I'm doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I used to snack a lot late at night. I'm kind of, I'm trying to, I guess, program myself not to, eat past a certain time. But,
Okay. Let me ask you this. You notice that if you've gone a long time without eating, you notice you start getting crabby or irritable or drowsy or disoriented?
no.
You don't? Okay. All right.
I used to feel like, oh my God, I need to eat. I'm going to pass out. Now I feel like trying to make healthier food choices, and that'll sustain me a little bit more. Like I'm trying to eat more healthy fats and that kind of thing to where I don't really have a drop in my blood sugar because I don't eat a lot of sugar except for some fruit, berries, stuff like that.
Okay. So, Marty, that's the reason why I'm asking these questions, okay? Because blood sugar and anxiety kind of go hand in hand, right? Sometimes if the blood sugar drops too quickly, too low, that can trigger a feeling of anxiety or a feeling of not feeling safe or whatever. So the reason I'm asking about your diet is just make sure that we have kind of nice, steady blood sugar throughout the day.
Mhm.
We don't want you going 3 or 4 hours without eating. This could cause an episode of low blood sugar. And many driving phobias start when somebody's driving, maybe early in the morning, maybe they drank alcohol the night before, and then in the morning, a bunch of coffee, their blood sugar's like all over the place, they feel anxiety, they associate anxiety with being in the car. And now we have a driving phobia. I'm not saying that's the case with you. What I am saying is that low blood sugar can get in the way of what we're trying to accomplish. So I'm glad to hear that you're taking pretty good care of yourself. The only thing that I would suggest is if you're going to drive somewhere early in the morning, try to eat something with protein before you drive.
Okay.
Try to avoid driving on an empty stomach.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
A little bit of just to make sure that we don't have low blood sugar getting in the way.
Okay.
Right? And it might be helpful to carry some snacks in your purse or
I
snacks.
usually have nuts in my car.
Perfect. Okay. Excellent. All right, good. You get any exercise?
Yes. I exercise probably like 3 times I do exercise 3 times a week, sometimes more.
Oh, awesome. Okay. All right. Good. That's why you look so slim and trim, right? Take good care of yourself that way.
I'm really trying hard.
All right. Excellent.
Trying hard.
Okay. So I want to find out kind of what your experience with anxiety in general is like during the day, right? So let's say that there's no place you need to go driving, maybe to the grocery store, someplace safe. Do you generally feel anxiety during the day about anything in particular other than driving?
Sometimes if I'm in, I freelance. So a lot of times I go to new jobs. Some jobs are reoccurring, but sometimes they're new jobs, and I get a little anxious. I always have to meet new people, and perform, like do my job. And I get a little nervous. Do they like me? Am I doing a good job? That kind of thing.
So as a makeup artist, you have to show up someplace at a photo shoot or at a movie location or commercial or whatever. And
I don't know the people. It's my first time meeting them. I get a little anxious.
Okay, so we call that a trigger. Okay, and I would imagine that if you have to drive to one of those things, that's kind of like a double whammy, right? You have the driving anxiety and then the anxiety about, are they going to like my work?
Well, yeah. So what I do is I leave a couple hours earlier because I'm taking the streets. I usually get to location maybe 45 minutes early, and then I get there and I can settle. You know what I'm saying? Or it's not like I rush, and get in and start my day. I kind of like set my intention and do that.
Perfect. I'm going to adjust my screen just a little bit.
I'm sorry, I think I need to do a different location next time because I keep getting dark. Okay.
No, that's okay. You got the light behind you, so
Yeah.
Just a second. I'm just adjusting my screen. Okay. So, driving on surface streets, going to the grocery store, or let's say that you have to drive when you're going someplace going to take you 20 minutes or 30 minutes driving on the surface streets, not on the freeway.
Mm-hmm.
How comfortable or uncomfortable is that for you?
I'm fine.
No problem.
Not really, no.
Okay, all right. So let's say that you're going to have to drive, let's say, an hour and a half to where you want to go on the surface streets. Still feeling pretty calm as long as you know you can stay on the surface streets.
Yeah. I mean, there's some areas where maybe people are coming up on the right-hand side and there's a parked car and they cut up, Other than that, I mean, I got to be a defensive driver. That's going to happen. But no, I'm fine on the surface streets. It's very interesting.
Okay, all right. Now, the last time you got on the freeway, which you mentioned was a couple of days ago,
Mm-hmm.
how long did you drive on the freeway? How long were you on it?
Well, I was in traffic.
Yes.
So probably about, 45 minutes to an hour.
So you're 45 minutes to an hour on the freeway in traffic.
Right, so it was kind of like moving at a steady pace. People, weren't.
The crazy stuff that they do, right?
Yeah, and if that happened, I'm not driving at a speed where, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I can't stop or something.
So how did that feel? How did that feel in terms of your level of comfort or anxiety when you were on the freeway a couple days ago for 45 minutes in traffic?
It felt very empowering. There was a part where towards the end of the drive, traffic started dispersing a little bit,
Yes.
and I had to pick up speed a little bit, and I started getting a little tense, but I knew I was so close that I could make it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But I was kind of proud of myself. I kind of chuckled, like,
Awesome.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So this is one of the things that's really important in our work together. Drive on the freeway when you can.
Okay.
Once people stop driving on the freeway, it's very difficult to get them back on. Okay? So what we're going to help you do is to get back on the freeway in safe and comfortable situations, even if it's just a mile. We want to keep you driving on the freeway when you can. Obviously, we don't want you to get, we're not going to say, go out and drive, an hour on the freeway in fast traffic. We're not quite ready for that. But when you can get on the freeway and when it feels safe, we want you to do that. Okay? And get that feeling of pride and send a message to your body like, okay, I can do this. This is okay. How do you feel about that? Looks like you're nervous.
I'm getting a little anxious. I I usually stay in the first or second lane, and a lot of people say that those are very dangerous lanes because of the merging of the oncoming. But I just feel safer because if I start getting, worked up, I can get off.
Yeah, I disagree. Now, the far right-hand lane, I mean, the lane that people are merging into and out to, that, you probably want to be in the lane to the left of that. But I would disagree that those are dangerous lanes. Typically, traffic is moving slower. They've got less kind of craziness. People are paying more attention when they're getting on and off the freeway, than if they're cruising along the fast lanes.
Right.
So yeah, in the short term, if you're going to get on the freeway, just stay in those right two lanes.
Okay.
Just kind of keep it nice and slow. Okay. All right. So we're going to help make it a lot more comfortable for you to drive, and hopefully you'll start feeling that after today's session. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, as well as being a passenger. Now, your husband's name is Paul, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Is Paul a good driver?
Excellent driver.
Excellent driver. Right? He has to be for you, right? Okay.
Well, yeah. But yeah, he is. He's a very good driver.
Okay. So when you're in the passenger seat and Paul's driving, do you feel okay with him getting into the faster lanes?
I really try not to pay attention. I'm constantly looking down.
Okay. So it's not like you tell him, stay in the right-hand lanes. You let him drive the way he needs to drive.
Absolutely. Yeah. I trust his driving. He has a Porsche, and one of the gifts I gave him was going to the Porsche Experience Center, and they kind of teach you how to use your car and if you slide, what to do. You know what I'm saying? So he's pretty good at driving.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Good. All right. You guys have been married 10 to 11 years.
We're coming up on 12 years this year.
12 years. Okay. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Let's see. So would you say, as you go about your daily life, would you say for the most part, you're feeling okay, you're feeling kind of calm, you're kind of taking it day by day, and would you say the only really time that you feel not calm or not safe is the prospect of having to drive, and you have to drive on the freeway? Other than that, would you say, your life is pretty good these days?
Yeah. I don't know if this pertains, but when I go to, like, let's say, a meeting, and somebody, asks me to share, I'll get anxious.
That's right.
Like meetings when I can be called upon to share, I get anxious.
Do you share
I'm trying to go through that too. I'm trying to just, walk through that, but I still get extremely anxious.
Do you share anyway?
If I don't have to get up in front of people, I don't do it a lot, no. I will force myself to do it because I think it's important that I get over it.
Yeah.
But it's something that does bother me a little bit.
So it involves like getting up out of your seat, going to a podium.
Yeah.
Some groups you get to stay in your chair, like if they're a smaller group, you can just stay in your chair. But if it's a big room.
And even that way I get a little, but it's more getting up in the podium. I can get up and read something.
Sure.
But it's when I have to talk freely about myself or something like that, I get very anxious.
Is that because if you're reading, you're looking down at the page, and if you're not reading, you're looking at people looking back at you? Is that part of it?
When I'm looking down and reading, I'm reading something, but when it's like it has to come from within, it's like I really draw a blank.
Okay.
I can read what's written, a book or a story or something like that, but it's just talking, without reading something.
Okay. All right. So coming up with something extemporaneously, kind of like just kind of coming up with something to say that makes it.
Yeah, I feel like I'm not articulate, or I can't piece together a thought or a story. I'm all over the place.
Okay. All right. You're not feeling that now with me asking you questions, right? It's only
No.
Okay. So, just a few more questions, if you don't mind. What do you do to try to be calm? I mean, do you have techniques or strategies or things that you do to kind of keep a nice, calm state?
Yeah, I do daily prayer meditation.
Okay.
I pay attention to my breath.
Awesome.
And I do things that bring me joy, make me feel good. You know what I mean? And so when I get into that kind of space, I feel safe. I don't know, like walking my dog, going to the park, stuff like that.
So getting outside, just.
Mm-hmm. I love to garden. That helps. I feel like I'm constantly kind of cleaning and organizing. That helps.
So it sounds like anything that kind of gets you out of your head,
Right.
right? Anything that gets you out of thinking or catastrophizing or if you're in the moment. And
I'm really working on staying in the moment and not projecting into the future or the past that much.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I'm really, really working hard at that.
Good. Yeah, that's important. And the key, I think, to being in the moment is to stay connected with the body. If we're doing something, if we're sweeping the floor, if we're washing the dishes, if we're walking the dog, we're actively in our bodies, we're experiencing kind of a moment-to-moment experience of doing something. Whereas if we're just kind of sitting and ruminating, that's when things.
I'm not on social media that much. Sorry, being back. Yeah, I really, yeah, exactly what you said. I enjoy doing all that kind of stuff.
So it sounds like you're doing a lot of really good stuff. And the only thing that kind of is a challenge is this whole driving thing.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So more questions, and we'll start talking about hypnosis. Okay. So after today, you're gonna feel a greater sense of calm and comfort when it comes to driving on the freeway. Now, we don't want you to go out, drive to Santa Barbara or anything like that. But if you did feel like you could get on the freeway, what would you do that would feel safe or simple or easy?
I'll listen to calm music,
Okay.
and sometimes no music.
Okay. Calm music or no music? Got it.
Um,
So you live near the 101?
yeah,
Okay. And what's the on ramp to the 101 closest to your house?
Canoga.
Canoga. Okay. Is that an easy on ramp to get onto? Okay. And so how far would you have to drive before you get off the next off?
Well, so where it trips me out is when I get on Canoga going east, I guess, right, away from towards HMI.
Right.
It's when I get to around that interchange where Sepulveda and the 405 is.
Yes.
Because if I were to continue on the 101, I have to get over in the far two lanes because the two right-hand lanes will veer onto 405 South, and if I want to stay on the 101, so I get a little nervous with that. So what I would do is get on at Sepulveda or Van Nuys past that interchange. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes. Okay. Got it. Yeah. And I wouldn't want you to get on the freeway going east and and have to deal with that interchange.
Yeah.
What I'm suggesting is if you get on the freeway for one exit or two exits,
I can do that.
that would be helpful. Yeah.
I can do that.
And if you can start doing that regularly, maybe on a Sunday morning. And I understand if you wanted to wait, for the rain to kind of subside right now. I know it's raining a lot right now, but yeah, I would wait. But if you could get on the freeway initially for one exit and then get off at the next one, or a couple of exits, or if, like you did recently, you're like, oh, well, it's rush hour traffic, you can probably get on the freeway, it's moving pretty slow. So safe situations to get on the freeway. If you can do that more often, we call that exposure therapy. Just get more used to it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever we do more and more often, just become more comfortable with it.
Now, do you want me to get in the second lane or is the first lane?
Doesn't matter, wherever you feel like comfortable.
Okay.
Okay? Just getting on the freeway, just saying, get on the freeway. Just having that motivation to get on the freeway, even if it's just a mile or two, get off.
Okay.
Just want you to get on the freeway regularly. All right?
Okay.
Any questions about that?
No.
Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to give you a little relaxation button that you can press. You start feeling any kind of nervousness or anxiety about getting on the freeway. Now, obviously, I can't UPS you some little machine with a button on it.
Okay.
But what we're going to do is we're going to give you something called an anchor.
Okay.
Okay? So what this is, it's a very simple little movement that you can do that's going to trigger calm, comfort, confidence, and ease.
Okay.
And the movement is very simple. It's just rubbing your fingers together like this. Yeah, just gently rubbing the thumb against the first few fingers. Yeah. And then what you do, go ahead.
No, if I'm driving, I can only use one hand.
Correct.
Okay.
That's why we're going to do it on both hands. This is the way this works. When we've got you in hypnosis today, we've got you nice and calm and comfortable, feeling super duper relaxed. Then we're going to have you do this. And you don't need to pick up your fingers. A lot of people misunderstand. You don't need to do this. I'm only doing this so you can see. Right? A lot of people do that. Right? Yeah, the hands can just be comfortable on your body. Just the only movement you need is fingers. So when we got you in hypnosis and nice and comfortable, we're going to have you rub the fingers together. We're going to have you take some deep breaths. And on each exhalation, we're going to have you say something to yourself, something positive in your mind. So positive affirmation like, I've got this, or I'm in control, or I feel safe and in control, something that you think you need to hear from yourself when that little bit of anxiety starts coming up. What do you think you need to tell yourself, Mark? Short, simple phrase.
I've got this.
I've got this. All right, perfect. Okay. Now, when we've got you in hypnosis, we're going to have you imagine what I call special place. That's just a place you can imagine in your mind. That is the most calm, most comfortable, most safe place you can possibly imagine. You want to create that state of safety and calm and associate it with doing this. So that when you're out and about and you think about driving on the freeway, you start to feel any kind of nervous or anxiety, you do this, it'll trigger that calm, comfortable feeling like a little relaxation button. So what would a place be for you that you can imagine and think about that would be calming and relaxing?
Like a specific, like, could I say Hawaii?
Sure, absolutely. A lot of people say Hawaii.
Yeah, Kauai. So let's say Kauai.
Never been to Kauai. All right, I hear it's very, very beautiful. Lots of beautiful trees. Okay, so if you were to imagine yourself on Kauai, what would you be doing? Would you be sitting in a chair on the beach? Would you be on the balcony of a nice hotel? What's the most relaxing situation you can think of?
Probably sitting out on the lanai. We usually do an Airbnb and we have a lanai looking out at the ocean.
Okay. So to reiterate how this works, today when we got you in hypnosis, and have you imagine this calm, comfortable scene, and then really help your body and mind get super calm and comfortable. Then we're going to have you rub the fingers together, take 3 deep breaths, and on each exhalation, silently in your mind, you can say, I've got this. And so the next time you're out driving around and you start to feel any kind of negative feelings or emotions, you're going to do that. Rub the fingers together, take some deep breaths, say to yourself, I've got this. You don't really necessarily have to imagine being in Hawaii. You want to be focused. But that, the more you use that, the more that's going to send a message to your mind that you can create calm and relaxation whenever you need to or want to. Any questions about that? Does that make sense how this works?
Yeah.
All right, great. Okay, I think I've got enough to work with today. Let's talk about hypnosis. As I've explained previously, hypnosis is a state that we're all in every single day of our lives. When we first wake up, at night before we go to bed, various points in between. When you're in hypnosis, even though I say words like deep sleep, you're not going to fall asleep. You remain awake, aware, fully in control, thinking thoughts. You might even be wondering, wow, am I really in hypnosis? If you think that, how means you are. One of the great things about hypnosis is that it's a venting process, which means that while you're in hypnosis, the mind and the body have an opportunity to let go of tension, stress, anxiety, and fear. Maybe stuff that's been in your body for a long, long time. So hypnosis is very relaxing. I don't have any ability to make you do or say anything you don't want to do or say. All hypnosis is self-hypnosis. You know, you feel super relaxed, you're thinking thoughts, you're focusing on my words, but in deeper states of hypnosis, your mind may drift, and you may realize, oh, I'm not paying attention. That's all a part of it. You can't really mess this up. Okay? Just kick back and give yourself the opportunity to get as relaxed as possible. The reason that we use the tool of hypnosis is because it's a state of suggestibility, which just means that when you're in hypnosis, your mind is open to suggestion, so we can use the power of suggestion to begin to change the thoughts and feelings in your mind. Sound good?
Mm-hmm.
Any questions about that?
No.
All right. So what I'm going to do, real briefly here, is let me get a little organized here. Hold on just a minute. Okay, I'm usually a pretty organized guy, but
Can I run to the bathroom really quick?
that's a really good idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
All right.
Okay.
So what we're going to do now is we're going to test your suggestibility. The way I'm going to do that is I'm going to ask you a series of questions that require a yes or a no answer. If the answer to the question is yes, Marty, all you need to do is nod your head. If the answer to the question is no, you shake your head. If you don't know the answer or you're not sure of the answer, just look directly at me and let me find the answer. So all of your responses will be non-verbal. Unless you didn't hear the question, then you can just say the word repeat, and I'll repeat the question. Other than that, all your responses will be non-verbal. Nodding your head, shaking your head, or just looking directly at me if you don't know the answer. Nod your head if you understand. All right? Great. Okay, before we do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a very quick diagram that explains how hypnosis works and how we're going to help you today. All right, so I'm going to share my screen real quick. Can you see that? All right. So this is a real brief explanation about how your mind works and how we're going to help you today. So the circle represents your mind. Down at the bottom, we've got something called the primitive mind. You're born with that. In that primitive mind part, you have a couple of responses that we call the fight-flight response. Have you ever heard of that? That's anxiety. Okay? Now, from the time we're born until about 8 years old, a lot of learning is taking place. Most of this learning involves forming positive associations and negative associations. So positive association is something that you're familiar with, something that's known. A negative association is something that's unknown, something you're not familiar with. All of these positive and negative associations become your known associations. It's a type of programming. We don't really know that this is going on because it happens at the level of the subconscious mind. So all this programming is happening, and we're not really aware of it. However, at about 8 or 9 years old, you develop another part of your mind called the critical mind. When that critical mind forms, that's when you start thinking for yourself. That's when you start asking questions. And at that point, you're using your conscious mind more fully. So your conscious mind is where you have logic, reason, willpower, the ability to analyze and have your own desires. At about 8, 9, 10 years old, we start running our lives with the conscious mind, right? Planning, this is what I want to do, this is what I need to do. Does this make sense so far? However, the subconscious mind is a much larger part of your mind. The conscious mind is only 12%. Subconscious mind is 88%. So we have a situation today, Mark, where 12% of your mind wants to get back on the freeway and drive comfortably and calmly. 12% of your mind wants to have that choice, but 88% of your mind doesn't want to drive on the freeway, so it can protect you. That's the job of your subconscious mind, to protect you. Your subconscious mind sees driving on the freeway as dangerous. And in a fight between the 12 and the 88, it's pretty easy to figure out what's going to win out, which is the subconscious mind. And that's why you're here today, because there's a part of you that wants to drive, but a much larger part of you that doesn't want to drive. Does that make sense? So what we're going to do is we're going to use the tool of hypnosis to make a doorway through the critical mind, so we can give you suggestions that won't be blocked. The idea is to create new associations at the level of the subconscious mind, and to get that subconscious mind moving in the same direction as the conscious mind. My job is to work with the 88%. Your job is to work with the 12%. That equals 100% success rate when the two parts of your mind start working together. Sound good so far? You go ahead and stop sharing. Okay. So now I'm going to ask you those questions. Give you a head nod or shake your head. Let's get started. Have you ever walked in your sleep during your adult life? As a teenager, did you feel comfortable expressing your feelings to one or both of your parents? You had a tendency to look directly into a person's eyes and or move closely to them when discussing an interesting subject. Do you feel that most people, when you first meet them, are uncritical of your appearance? In a group situation with people you have just met, would you feel comfortable drawing attention to yourself by starting a conversation? Okay, we'll put don't know the answer to that one, okay? Do you feel comfortable holding hands or hugging someone you're in a relationship with in front of other people? Okay. When someone talks about feeling warm physically, do you begin to feel warm also? Okay. You tend to occasionally tune out when someone is talking to you because you're anxious to come up to your side, and at times not hear what the other person said. Okay. Do you feel you learn to comprehend better by seeing and or reading than by hearing? In a new class or lecture situation, Marty, do you usually feel comfortable asking questions in front of the group? Okay, great. Doing great. Just a few more questions. Have you ever awakened in the middle of the night and felt you could not move your body and or talk? Okay. As a child, did you feel you were more affected by your parents' tone of voice than by what they actually said? Okay. If someone you know talks about a fear that you've experienced before, do you have a tendency to have an apprehensive or fearful feeling also? If someone you know talks about a fear that you have experienced before, do you have a tendency to have an apprehensive or fearful feeling also? Okay. After having an argument with someone, you have a tendency to dwell on what you could or should have said. You tend to occasionally tune out when someone is talking to you and therefore do not hear what was said because your mind drifts to something totally unrelated. Okay. You sometimes desire to be complimented for a job well done but feel embarrassed or uncomfortable when complimented. Right. Do you feel self-conscious when attention is drawn to your physical body or appearance? If you had a choice, would you rather avoid being around children most of the time? Do you feel you are not relaxed or loose in body movements, especially when faced with unfamiliar people or circumstances? Last question. Can you visualize, imagine, pretend, or see pictures in your mind with your eyes closed? Okay. So go ahead and you can tell me. So if I asked you to imagine, to close your eyes and imagine what your car looked like, would you be able to get some image in your mind of your car? You would. Okay. So if I asked you to imagine that you're on the beach in Hawaii, kicking back on the lanai, would you be able to get some kind of image of that in mind? All right, great. Go ahead and just look down at your right hand. Just look at your right hand and see if you can get a good image in your mind of your right hand. When you think you've got a good image in your mind of your right hand, go ahead and close your eyes and make sure your hand is palm down on top of the desk, okay? If you can still hold the image of the hand in your mind, even just a little bit, Marty, just give me a little nod of your head. Still hold that image, even just a little bit of what your hand looks like. Kind of, okay, that's great. All right. So just think about or try to remember what your hand looks like, or get some kind of image of it. If you can't do it perfectly fine. And while you're doing that, you're going to begin to notice some changes begin to take place in your body. I'm going to describe them, and when you notice them happen, just give me a little nod of your head. Let your inner attention flow down to your lower abdominal area and focus on your breath. You might notice a tendency to want to take deeper breaths, a very subtle change in your breathing. When you notice that your breathing is starting to change up just a little bit, just give me a little nod of your head. Now focus your attention on your mouth and throat. You might notice the tendency to feel kind of dry in your mouth, a tendency to want to lick your lips or swallow. If you start to notice that, go ahead and nod your head. Now focus on your closed eyes and eyelids, and you might notice some fluttering or quivering movements of the eyelids. You might feel like the eyelids are getting more tightly closed, just interesting movements in the eyes or eyelids, trembling, quivering. If you notice anything like that, once again, just give me a nod of your head. These are all natural, normal signs that you're beginning to enter the state of hypnosis. So now, let your inner attention flow down to your right arm and hand. Notice the feeling of your right elbow resting comfortably on the desk. Let your attention flow to the feeling of the palm on the desk, and all the way to the fingertips of the right hand. focus your inner attention on the fingertips of the right hand. See if you can identify any feelings or sensations. Maybe cool, maybe tingly, maybe the feeling of flatness in the desk. Whatever sensations you're feeling in the fingertips of your right hand, just focus on those sensations. And as you do that, you'll notice that they begin to become a feeling of lightness. You'll notice a tendency that with each and every breath that you take, the right hand and arm start to grow lighter and lighter, a lifting, floating, rising sensation. You may notice the breathing becoming very deep, gentle, and rhythmic. And with each and every breath that you take, you get a sense or feeling of the right hand starting to feel lighter and lighter, as light as a feather. You'll be aware of your right elbow pushing down a little bit harder on the desk. You might even notice your feet flat on the floor. All the while, the right hand and arm feeling lighter and lighter, as if the right arm and hand just wants to float up and up, higher and higher, lighter and lighter, as light as a feather. With each and every breath that you take, the right arm, the right hand, getting lighter and lighter, lighter, closer, lift and float up. As you focus your attention on your back against the chair, you might begin to notice little muscular, jerky movements in your right hand. That just means your mind is starting to take in the suggestion. And with these little jerky muscular movements, as the hand starting to just lift and float, rise. A small little jerky movement. Jerky movements, the right hand, the arm, rising and lifting, pulling and jerking, floating, each and every breath that you take. Use your imagination, pretend, visualize, or imagine what it would feel like. They have a big bunch of very powerful helium balloons tied around your right wrist. Imagine the feeling of a big bunch of helium balloons tugging on the right wrist, adding to the feeling of lightness as you feel the right hand and arm continuing to rise and float, lifting and floating, pulling and jerking. The right hand and the right arm feeling very, very light now as you get that sense or feeling of the right arm and hand rising, lifting, floating and rising, up and up, higher and higher, lighter and lighter, as light as a feather. With each and every breath that you take, rising, lifting, floating, up and up, higher and higher, lighter and lighter, as light as a feather. If you're starting to feel that right hand lifting and floating and rising up the desk, just give me a little nod. You'll notice that with each and every breath, the right hand continues to rise and lift and float, continuing to lift up and up, higher and higher, lighter and lighter, as light as a feather, lifting, floating, rising and moving, lifting and floating. The right arm and hand feeling very, very light now as it continues to rise and lift and float, up and up, higher and higher, lighter and lighter, as light as a feather. Imagine what it would feel like those big helium balloons pulling that arm and hand up and up, rising and lifting and floating. Right elbow pushing down a little bit harder on the desk. Left hand, the one on the left thigh, feeling heavier and heavier. The right arm feeling lighter and lighter, lifting, floating, and rising. With each and every breath that you take, might be the breath in that causes the right hand to lift and float and rise. Might be the breath out. I'll let you decide which phase of the breath is causing that hand to continue to rise and lift and float. Up and up, higher and higher, lighter and lighter, light as a feather. Now you're going to begin to notice a feeling that might be described as magnetism. You might get the feeling that the hand is rising and moving closer and closer to the head and to the face. The right arm and hand beginning to be drawn upwards and inwards, closer and closer to the head. You might notice the head moving closer and closer to the hand as you feel the chin moving closer to the chest. Is it the hand moving closer to your head or your head moving closer to your hand? I'll let you decide, but that feeling of lifting and floating and the hand being drawn upwards and inwards, closer and closer to your head becomes very, very apparent. Your hand more quickly, more rapidly, moving up and moving closer to the head as if the hand wants to touch some part of the head or face. Up and up, higher and higher, lighter and lighter, the hand continuing to lift and float and rise, moving closer and closer to the head moving closer and closer to the hand continuing to lift and float and rise, up and up, higher and higher. And you feel that hand being drawn closer and closer to the head. That magnetic attraction between head and hand getting very, very strong now. The hand continuing to lift and float and rise. Nod your head if you feel that hand continuing to rise and lift and float, up and up. You'll continue to rise and lift and float closer and closer to the head, almost as if drawn by magnetism. The hand continuing to rise and lift and float. As the hand continues to rise and lift, moving closer and closer to the head and to the face. Feel that hand just wanting to reach up and touch some part of the head or face. As it's drawn by magnetism, you feel your chin moving closer to your chest. As the head starts to bow down, the head begins to feel very, very heavy now. The head and the right hand moving closer and closer together. Closer and closer as the right hand continues to rise and lift and float, up and up, higher and higher, lighter and lighter, continuing to rise and lift and float, rising up into the air. The right hand and the arm feeling lighter and lighter, lighter and lighter, lifting, pulling, jerking, rising. Now you're going to begin to notice a twisting, turning sensation in the right hand as the fingers begin to point more towards the face. So there's a lifting, floating, twisting, turning, rising sensation as the fingers begin to point more towards the face. Twisting, turning, lifting, floating, rising. The hand, the fingers pulling closer and closer to the head. The head moving closer and closer to the hand. That magnetic attraction between the two getting very, very strong now. The hand moving closer and closer to the face, twisting and turning as the fingers begin to point more towards the face, pointing more towards the head, twisting, turning, lifting, floating, rising. The head feeling very, very heavy now. The The fingers begin to point more towards the face. At some point, Marty, you're going to feel the hand touch your head or some part of your face. At that point, you'll reach the peak of your suggestibility, and you can enter the hypnotic state to this depth or deeper. The hand will get closer and closer. Very, very close now. Twisting, turning, lifting, floating, and rising. Any minute now, you're going to feel your hand or fingers touch some part of your face. The minute you feel that skin contact, the hand will drop down to the desk. You can enter the hypnotic state. The minute you feel that skin contact, and deep sleep. Deep sleep. And each and every time deep sleep is suggested to you, for the purpose of hypnosis and with your permission, you can enter the hypnotic state to this depth or deeper, and your physical body will relax. Focus on your closed eyelids now. Your eyes are closed. As you focus on your closed eyelids, it may occur to you that the eyes are tightly closed. And the more you focus on those closed eyelids, you're going to notice the more tightly closed they begin to feel. The eyelids feeling very, very tightly closed. And the more you focus on them, the more tightly closed they begin to feel, almost as if they're glued shut. The eyes so tightly closed, it's almost as if you couldn't open them if you tried. In fact, your eyes are so tightly closed, you simply cannot open them. You can try to open them, but the harder you try, the more tightly closed they become. So tightly closed, you simply cannot open them. Try harder, but the harder you try, the more tightly closed they become. Try harder, but the harder you try, the more tightly closed they become. You can stop trying to open your eyes, they won't open it this time. And now you can go even deeper. Deep sleep. Drifting deeper. Every time you hear me say the words deep sleep, you can enter the hypnotic sleep to this depth or deeper, and your physical body will relax. Now, Marty, in a moment, I'm going to ask you to open your eyes, and when I do, your eyelids will become unstuck. You can open your eyes and look directly at me. So go ahead and open your eyes, eyelids unstuck, the hands are their regular weight. Go ahead and open your eyes and look directly at me. Perfect. Now you can go lie down in your bed or your sofa, and let's get you nice and relaxed now. Okay? So go ahead and do that now. Go ahead. You can relax or lie down and just move the computer however way you need to. That's right. Perfect. Okay. All right then. So, Marty, go ahead and open your eyes. Keep your eyes open. Focus on a spot on the wall or on the ceiling. And I'm going to begin to record our session. So we're going to start with your eyes closed, with your eyes open. Focusing on a spot on the wall or on the ceiling. Begin taking some slow, deep breaths. In through the nose and out through the mouth. I invite you to have the intention in your mind that you're going to allow yourself to become as comfortable and calm as you possibly can. Now, when you begin taking these long, deep breaths, you'll notice your eyes getting heavier and heavier, blinking more and more. When the time is right,
YouTube
allow
Studio.
eyes to close. Focusing on your breath now. If the eyes haven't closed yet, they will soon close when the time is right. Let your attention be on your breath and simply watch the breath rise and fall. I'm going to count slowly backwards from 5 down to 0. On or before reaching 0, if the eyes aren't closed already, they will close. And you can enter the hypnotic sleep deeply, calmly, and quickly. Counting down 5. The breathing deep, gentle, and rhythmic. Drifting deeper 4. Feeling relaxed and calm. Deeper 3, 2, 1, and 0. Deep sleep. Drifting deeper in each and every time deep sleep is suggested to you for the purpose of hypnosis. You can enter the hypnotic state to this depth or deeper, allowing your physical body to relax. Let your inner intention, Marty, flow all the way down to your toes and feet. Feel your toes, feel your feet. As you focus your inner attention on your toes and feet, you can notice the beginning of a wonderful wave of calm and relaxation, starting from your toes and the soles of your feet, flowing into your ankles and into your calves. A wonderful wave of calm and relaxation. Using the power of your mind, let it flow into your ankles and calves. Every nerve, every muscle, every cell, let it go. Loosening, unwinding. A wonderful daydreamy, drowsy feeling of deep calm moving into your knees and into your thighs. Let that relaxation move into your hips and stomach and lower back. Almost as if all the tensions and pressures of the day are being released and let go of. The breathing very deep, gentle and rhythmic. The back sinking more deeply into the chair, recliner, or bed. And the breathing is very deep, gentle and rhythmic. Let this wonderful wave of relaxation flow into your shoulders. Arms and hands feeling very loose, very limp. Each and every breath allowing you to drift more deeply into this calm, comfortable state. Let your teeth unclench. Let your face be relaxed. All the muscles in the back of the head just let it go. A wonderful, wonderful feeling of being so safe, so calm, so relaxed. Let's take a long, slow, deep breath. And on the exhalation, let's drift even deeper, deep sleep. And drifting deeper. And every time you hear me say deep sleep, you can enter the hypnotic sleep to this depth or deeper. Now, Marty, use your wonderful imagination. Pretend, visualize, or imagine a staircase of 20 steps. A very secure staircase with lots of pleasant light and 2 secure handrails. Imagine, pretend, or visualize that you're standing at the top of the staircase, feeling very calm and very, very safe. Imagine that every step has a number from 20 at the top down to 0 at the bottom. If you can't picture a staircase of 20 steps in your mind, then pretend or imagine or get a sense of standing at the top of a staircase of 20 steps. In a moment, I'm going to begin counting slowly backwards from 20 down to 0. And every count, imagine yourself taking a step down each stair. Every step that you take allows you to drift even more deeply into this calm, comfortable state. Furthermore, every step that you take increases your confidence and belief that you can and will get back to driving on the freeway whenever you want, whenever you need to, calmly, comfortably, and enjoy it. Let's imagine taking that first step down the staircase, stepping from 20, down to 19, deeper 18, deeper 17, deeper 16, deeper 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, going deeper, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0, deep sleep and drifting deeper. So calm, so comfortable. We're now going to take a little mental vacation one. Use your wonderful imagination. And imagine you're on the island of Kauai. Imagine that you are sitting on the lagoon, looking out over a beautiful blue-green ocean. Not a care in the world, warm sun feels so good. Connect with what you've been seeing, what we hear. Most importantly, connect with how you feel, profound feeling, ease and safety come. Now, Marty, gently begin rubbing your fingers together like these. On both hands, just rub your fingers together while imagining this beautiful scene. Take a long, deep breath. On the exhalation, say silently in your mind, I've got this. Take another long, slow, deep breath. On the exhalation, say in your mind, I've got this. Keep rubbing those fingers together. Take another long, slow, deep breath. Rub the fingers together. On the exhalation, say, I've got this. Anchoring these calm, comfortable feelings into your body, where you can retrieve them whenever you want to, whenever you will. Feeling so calm, so good. You begin to associate that good, calm feeling with rubbing the fingers together, breathing, and saying to yourself, I've got this. Now let your fingers relax now and be still. From this point forward, whenever you feel any nervousness, any anxiety about anything, especially about driving, you'll remember to rub your fingers together. Take the breaths, say your phrase, and you'll immediately trigger all the calm, comfortable feelings you want and need. Do not only drive on the freeway, just stand up and talk to other people about your experiences. You have the ability, you have the capability to create calm and relaxation for yourself much more often, whenever you want to, whenever you need to. It'll be so interesting in the coming days and weeks to begin to notice how much more deeply rooted in your body you begin to feel. All the work that you've been doing to be more present starts to pay off. You're no longer suggestible to your own negative thoughts, particularly thoughts of catastrophizing. When a negative thought comes up, you let it go as easily as it comes up. You are becoming much more suggestible to your own positive thoughts, to what you want, to how you want it to be. These are the things you start to think about a lot more often. And consequently, every day, you begin to feel much more calm, much more safe, much more at ease, much more relaxed. Now, connect with that feeling of calm in your body. There's nothing you need to think about. You may have thoughts in your mind. These are the everyday things that we think about. If a thought drifts into your mind, let it drift out. You may notice sounds inside the room or outside the room. These are the everyday sounds of life that can disturb you or distract you. Let your mind be calm, focused on the words that I'm saying. Imagine, pretend, or visualize, Marty, that you're driving your car. Imagine it's a beautiful day, the air is fresh, and there's nice fluffy clouds, and you're listening to your favorite music. Feeling so calm, so confident. Imagine that you're deciding to get on the freeway for just one or two exits. See yourself calm and comfortable, easily merging on the freeway, staying in the right two lanes, alert, maintaining a feeling of safety, feeling proud at getting back on the freeway. Imagine that one exit later or two exits later, you get off. With a sense of pride and accomplishment, you got on and off the freeway, maintaining a feeling of safety, calm, relaxation. You're going to find from this point on that you can get on the freeway for one or two exits, or maybe if it's super trafficy and traffic is slow. Begin to find that you're letting go now of those negative feelings. Becoming much more calm, much more confident, feeling more safe each and every time you get in your car. Bring your attention back into your breath. Let that image fade. And tonight, when you sleep, you may have the best night's sleep that you've had in a long, long time. In fact, you'll notice that over the course of the next few days, your sleep improves tremendously. You'll notice a tendency to fall asleep quickly and stay asleep right through. In the early morning hours, dream. You may remember these dreams. In these dreams, your mind will be working for you, allowing you to vent out and release anxiety and fear through thoughts, words, images, and feelings. While you're safely in the dream state, your mind will allow you to let go of those things, thoughts and feelings you don't need, allowing you to each and every day feel so much more safe, comfortable, and calm. And you may even find yourself saying, wow, this feels really good. Let's bring the attention back to the breath. Just watch the breath rise and fall. In a moment, I'm going to count slowly from 0 up to 5. When I reach 5, you'll be able to open your eyes and come to a fully alert and awake state, feeling so calm, so relaxed, and so very comfortable. Let's begin counting slowly from 0 up to 1. Slowly coming up to 2. Or where the sounds around you at 3. Eyes starting to open at 4. And 5. Eyes open. And wide, wide awake. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Marty, eyes open. Wide awake. Feeling great. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Eyes open. And wide, wide awake. Okay, I've stopped the recording. Marty, are you there? Still with me? All right, let's go ahead and get you sitting up. Okay.
I feel very hopeful.
All right. Me too. Was this experience of hypnosis a little bit different from previous experiences?
Yeah.
Excellent. All
I
right.
think how you explained it. I like that little diagram.
Excellent. All right.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
Good. I was outside for a while. I gotta tell you, since I've been doing, this, listening to the tapes and stuff, I feel, I don't know if it's more relaxed, more tired, or my sleep has been better. I've been dreaming. I haven't written down my dreams, but I don't know. I mean, it's good. It's good. I just feel very relaxed right now. So, it's our noon.
Those are normal byproducts of hypnosis.
Okay.
Yeah, especially if you're listening to a recording pretty regularly. Sleep is almost always a positive benefit, and there's a greater feeling of relaxation too.
Yeah.
So, how many times have you listened to the recording? If you don't mind me asking.
Probably every day except today.
Oh, cool. Okay, perfect. So what happens is every day, if you listen to like a recording, which is I think 18 or 19 or 20 minutes, your body gets a chance to experience deep relaxation in the same way that you might feel when you sleep. So 20 minutes of hypnosis really is as relaxing as a good night's sleep. So if your body's getting that every day, getting that opportunity to let go of tension, stress, and pressure, then yeah, consequently you're gonna feel a lot more calm and relaxed each and every day. So good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Things are working out exactly the way they're supposed to.
Yeah.
Did you work over the weekend? Did you have to go work someplace?
No, I worked last week, and I did get on the freeway twice.
Good for you.
That's
Awesome.
it.
Okay, good. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got on the freeway 2 times, and so how long were you on the freeway?
For 5 exits.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So I got on the freeway, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get over in the second, like not the far right, but the second lane.
Okay.
And I did that, and traffic was probably going like 25 miles an hour.
Okay.
And then it started, evening out. and speed started picking up, and then I had to get over.
To the right lane.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. That's
But
fine.
yeah.
Well, this is a great success and accomplishment. You got on the freeway twice, went 5 exits, right? Even when the traffic started to pick up, you didn't get off. You just stayed in the right-hand lane. So
I stayed in the right-hand lane. Yes.
yeah, that's awesome. That's a high five. Yeah, this is exactly what we're looking for. Okay, that positive accomplishment where you do what you can do, right? And hey, it starts getting a little, you start feeling something. Yeah, you just go back to your safe lane, which is the right-hand lane, right? But now you've gotten on the freeway twice, and you went 5 exits, so that's more than nothing you've done in a long time, right?
Yes. And I got called on to share, where I had to get up and stand at a podium in front of people, and I did it.
Congratulations, that's even better. There's even more good stuff. So you're able to get up in front of people and share and talk and relate your own personal experience, and that's pretty good.
I mean, yeah, I forced myself. Like, I was always like, I'm going to sit in my chair. I don't have to get up. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to get up. And I didn't sit down wherever I felt, but I actually got up. I shared for a little bit, and then I sat down, and, I didn't die. You know what I mean?
Right. And you're not going to die, right? I mean,
yeah, but that was huge.
That is huge. So those are awesome accomplishments, both of those. So you should feel very proud of yourself.
Yeah, it was, actually.
Good. All right. So this is something I think it's important to understand, that these feelings that we have of fear or anxiety, they're just feelings. They're not going to kill you. They're not dangerous. They're not going to hurt you. But the more we avoid the feelings, the bigger, badder, meaner, and stronger they get.
Right.
When we allow ourselves to just feel it, and like, okay, well, I'm hanging in there. I'm not dying. It's a little, uncomfortable. But when we allow ourselves to feel that, we become less afraid. Right? So you got up, you spoke, like you said, you didn't die. You're like, oh, well, if I did it once, I could probably do it again. Again. The more times you do it, the easier it gets, right?
Yeah, hopefully.
Well, absolutely. Not just hopefully. Absolutely, that's how it works, okay? So let me ask you this. When you got on the freeway those 2 times to drive, how did that feel for you?
It was okay because it wasn't like a fast. I knew there was traffic.
Yeah.
I knew I was kind of getting in a safe thing, but I did do that.
You used to be able to drive calmly, comfortably, and enjoyably at one time wherever you wanted to go, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. And so how long has it been, would you say, since you felt that?
No, I feel like I keep changing my answer, but it feels like a long time. Like,
10 years, 20 years?
Yeah, maybe. 15, 20 years.
15 to 20 years. Okay. All right, then. So do you have memories of, like, driving a car, sunny day, listening to music? Do you have those good memories of driving in your car?
I have memories where I lived in Lake Tahoe, and I would drive down from Lake Tahoe to Southern California. I lived in San Francisco. I would drive back and forth,
Did you enjoy that?
Parts, like, when I would get to certain parts, like maybe the Grapevine, that would, kind of stir a little bit of anxiety. But, yeah, I'd go to the beach. I'd go over the canyon, no problem.
Okay.
I'd drive to San Diego. Now it's like I can't do it. I can drive to the beach, but even on PCH, people drive fast.
Yeah, that is true.
It's not enjoyable.
It's less enjoyable. I would agree with you because you have to drive a lot more defensively now.
Yeah.
Right? Like everybody, it's like any minute somebody's going to do something dumb.
Yeah.
My feeling is, as long as I'm not doing anything dumb, I'm going to be okay. Right? As long as I'm just like eyes on the road and not looking at my phone, I'm going to be okay. And I'm sure you follow all of those.
I do.
Of safety on the road, right? All right. Okay. So let's just go back to driving on the freeway. And you did 5 exits, pulled up the freeway 2 times. So we can measure
Don't pass a lot on that part.
what was for you. And what I like to do is use a scale of 1 to 10. 10 being like super anxious, like panicky, 1 being like totally cool, calm, collected, and chill. So what was your experience for driving on the freeway those 2 times? On that scale?
I would say maybe 5.
5. Okay, somewhere in the middle then. Okay, all right. And that's better than...
Until the speed started picking up, and then maybe it went to like, 7 or something, you know what I mean?
Okay. Now what about sharing when you were talking in the podium? What was that on that same scale?
Okay, so 10 being
Most anxious, yes.
Probably an 8.
Wow. So even though it was an 8, you still got up there and did it.
Yes.
Okay. Did it
So
feel good
right
though?
now,
Proud?
I'm recording a session
I mean, I literally
so I can
forced
improve
myself.
my sessions in 20 minutes.
More about that.
How much is left?
So
In 20 minutes,
I'm guessing that your
just close it
your wisdom and experience
and then
is like
stop.
program. I'm guessing your wisdom
Okay.
and experience is probably pretty
From
valuable.
like 20 minutes.
That is that are at the beginning of their sobriety journey.
See, that's my problem. Like, I don't really, I'm better one-on-one in a group, sitting at a table,
Okay.
having coffee with a bunch of people than being singled out at the podium, all eyes on me. You know, something happens where I literally blank out. Like all thoughts escape my mind. I'm sitting there listening to somebody share, and then I get called on, and everything I was thinking in my mind in my chair, I lose. It like disappears.
Okay, got it. So you get called on rather than raising your hand and volunteering to speak.
Yeah, I don't rarely volunteer to raise my hand. It was like my number. They give you out little tickets at this one particular meeting.
Okay.
And people know I don't like to share. And I have one lady who has made it her mission to make sure she remembers my number.
Uh-huh.
It's almost obnoxious, but whatever. And so she, because people tend to take it very seriously, like
Sure.
you didn't turn down a request and this and that. It's like I feel like I could be of help in other ways, as opposed to being this person that gets up and shares at the podium. You know what I mean? I'm not one of these. You know what I'm talking about, kind of maybe.
I know exactly what you're talking
Okay.
about. Yes, exactly.
And she's one of those people, and I'm not comfortable. And people won't leave me alone about it, and it's given me a little bit of a complex. And I feel like I have to prove to myself.
Okay.
And it bugs me that it bothers me so much.
Okay, fair enough. And so you don't want to say, I'm sorry, I'd rather not speak. It sounds like you don't want to say that.
I have done that, or I have not taken a number, and I've been I've gotten unsolicited advice. Oh, you're just a taker. You don't want to give back. People think,
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that girl.
Yeah.
There's some hardcore people in that group. So.
A little bit, yeah. And,
Okay.
Maybe I don't know if I'm the kind of person that people feel like they can do that to. I don't know. Or maybe I take it to heart, or I'm super sensitive. I don't know what it is. But so it kind of bothers me that I'm coming up on 30 years, that I still it's not my thing. It's not.
Okay. All right. So it sounds like a large solution to the problem would just be getting up, doing it, being done with it, and not feeling anything, right?
Right. I want to be able to say, fuck it, whatever comes out of my mouth.
Right.
But I am concerned with how did I sound? Was I articulate? Did I make sense? Was I
Right.